Live from the world's fastest deodorant sponsored course, it's race number 7 of the 2025 season, Season 3 of the Fuel Sportsman Series. Live at the Old Spice Raceway, it's the Earth, Wind, and Old Spice Grand Prix here this evening. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, lads of all ages. Welcome to tonight's tape-delayed stream of Race 7 that occurred a couple of nights ago. It's fitting that here on the 21st night of September, it's the Earth, Wind, and Fire the Earth, Wind, and Old Spice Grand Prix here on the Fuel Racing League and on the North American Sim Racing Network. Trey Wright on the call here on the NASRN, and we are getting ready to have one whale of a show here tonight. It's going to be a 40-lap race around this 1.5-mile, 8-turn facility here at Old Spice. If you've watched the channel a lot, you'll definitely know that the Old Spice High Endurance Raceway, or just the Old Spice Raceway, is a fan favorite here on the North American Sim Racing Network and a fan favorite over in the Fuel circles as well. See a couple of people getting in here for the stream. Go through the starting lineup for this race, starting, of course, with the back driving, starting with the lady driving the number 42 Coors Light Pontiac. If we can get a good shot of that Dodge. It was actually a Dodge, not a Pontiac. I'm stupid. Rafaela Sorensen starting in the, I don't know what spot they're starting in. I think, we've got 15 cars in this field. I didn't bother to check. We got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 16. Okay, let me actually count here. That shows how prepared we are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 14 cars. So we got 14 cars on the grid. So Rafaela Sorensen will be starting in the 14th spot. Starting in 13th, driver of the number 20 AF Dodge. A couple of Dodges starting shotgun on the field. Lucas Kennedy starting 13th. Starting 12th on the grid in the Ryan Newman Roy Construction Pontiac. Number 29, Rich Roy, starting in 12th, and then starting 11th, the Budweiser car, the Bud King of Beers, Monte Carlo. That's Blake Warren, starting in 11th on the grid. Rounding out the top 10, your Augusta winner from a couple of weeks ago, Ike Durbin, in the Dark Matter Coffee number 86 Pontiac from Millennium Autosport. Then you got, who's in the 9 car? That's going to be Emmy Schizzato in the number 9. Caltex Ford Thunderbird, a brand new car for Emmy here this evening. They'll be starting in 9th for car number 9. Starting in 8th, going to be Victor Delgado III in the Melling Cylinder Sleeves, number 52. I want to say that's a Holden for that 52 car. It's either a Holden or a Buick. I can't exactly tell. I'm kind of dumb, as you guys all know and love. We're going to say that's actually an Oldsmobile. That's an Oldsmobile, I think. Let's... I want to say... No, that's not an Oldsmobile. Is that a Holden? That's not a Holden. So what did I say? It was on Mercury. Yep, it's a Mercury. Third time's the charm. So we got the number 52 Melling Mercury of Victor Delgado in that car. Then starting next to Victor Delgado in the 7th spot, the number 85 Sprite 4 Thunderbird of Nicky Conti. And we got Tyler Stallhood up in here in car number 7, starting in 6th. Alongside him, not Nicky Conti, not the 85, the 84 of Crystal Bennett, rounding out the top 5, the Interstate Batteries number 84 car. RJ Bishop starting in 4th in a brand new Havoline-looking car, the number 28, and a brand new scheme. This is a throwback to Jeff Green. I actually have that diecast right next to me, that Jeff Green 2003 throwback there for Vincenzo Focusato. Hopefully his car is faster than AOL here this evening, as all 3 Millennium Autosport Pontiacs are on the grid. And then on the front row, we've got Don LaPrade, your winner for a couple of times this season. I actually forgot to mention Rich Roy won last week at Daytona. I hate that that's the one race I did not do because I was totally busy last weekend. Of course, the one race I do miss, Rich Roy won at Daytona, so I want to shout him out. But I think Don LaPrade has, 1 or 2 wins this season, I want to say. I think he won at Darlington. And he won at CCIR. I'm pretty sure he won at it was either him or Apollo Hyde. Speaking of Apollo Hyde, she sits on the pole position in the number 100 Kovac Advantic Systems Pontiac. at the Old Spice High Endurance Raceway here in Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin. Here we are in free cam. Another big shout out to Tyler Mallon for the free cams. We'll take you around the Old Spice High Endurance Raceway. Down this front straightaway, if I can keep things a little bit straight here. Down the bridge, down this front straightaway, and going in towards turns 1 and 2. Those are going to be the biggest points of concern for a lot of these drivers here at Old Spice. Through these opening sets of turns, which are going to be, we see a lot of locking up, and this is a very tight track for a road course, and pretty much almost every corner beside turns 6 and 7, we're going to see a lot of instances of lockups here this evening, and you get into this first set of 2 hairpins here for turns 3 and 4 on the track. Going to go underneath of the Old Spice Bridge. That's where the field is grinning up here on the back straightaway, and hopefully the game does not continue to lag like this. The field will go down the back straightaway through that little kink there in turn 6, or rather turn 5 and turn 6 right in here. There's the pit entry into the highest banked part of the course in turn numero 7, turn number 7. Banked at, I'm trying to remember if it's 15, no, I think it's about 20-25 degrees here. That's going to be the biggest corner that we see all afternoon long. And then going here towards Gatorade Victory Lane, the final. Real big trouble spot for a lot of these guys here in turn number 8. It's going to be a pretty big trouble spot for a lot of these guys. We're going to see a lot of instances of lockup, and we see it a lot in the Flowmaster Grand Touring Championship. Those are offline cars, however, this is online. And with online, the mistakes can be a lot more costly as we take a look at Old Spice Victory Lane here on the front straightaway. We do have 40 laps to get underway here in just a couple moments as we get our transition underway here. We'll get out of free cam so our computer actually has some room to boot up here. We'll go back to the race leaders. We'll go back to the race leaders on the front straightaway. Here at Old Spice is Apollo Hyde. Won the pole position in the number 100 machine by a couple tenths over the 74 of Dunlop-Prod. Let's get things going. Here for race number 7 of the Sportsman season. Hyde and LaPrade in row number 1. Focusato and RJ Bishop in row 2. Pace car getting ready to peel off, and it will. And here we go. Hyde, the pole sitter, looking for that 3rd win of the season in the 100. LaPrade in a dogfight for the championship with that number 100 machine. 14 cars on the grid. Jenza Focusato getting a little eager there, trying to get around the 100 of Hyde. Pontiac teammate for that number 100 machine is the pace car. It's down the pit area as Hyde will lead this field toward the starting zone and getting ready for 40 laps around the Old Spice High Endurance Raceway. Not sure when these guys will come down the pit lane. I don't think it's going to be a green flag race all throughout. Hyde, the pole sitter, LaPrade starting in 2nd. Here they come to the green flag, waving in the air. We're live for race 7 from Sturgeon Bay. And it's LaPrade, first one on the outside, will go to the race lead. A little bit of a lockup there from Stallhood in the 7. 3 wide for 2nd, back in here. Stallhood will back out of that 3 wide as we're through our first big lockup section of the track. Hyde will take 2nd away from Stallhood. And no incidences so far to write home about in the opening half of this opening lap. And it's LaPrade who will jump to the race lead, and Hyde will go to 2nd. Focusato to 3rd, Stallhood in 4th, and RJ Bishop trying to get up there. And a big lockup from Hyde going into turn 8. Slid the tires just a little bit, but it looks like everybody will get through the opening lap of action incident-free. 1 down, 39 to go from the Old Spice Raceway. Oh, and some contact back in there and around the 7 into the 37 of Focusato. Those two hard into the outside wall. Does that draw the yellow flag? It does not. Some more smoke out of these drivers going through turn number 4. Some contact between Schizato and Focusato. And Focusato has got a lot of damage on the right-hand side of that AOL Pontiac. Not the start to the race that you would want there if you're Focusato, and Stallhood is going to take that spot away. Stallhood goes up the racetrack, opens the door for Bennett. A little bit of a slide job off the corner there for Stallhood. Has always been really, really successful at this track as Sorensen a little loose off of the corner. Leprod beginning to check out. But Stallhood running in 4th as he overdrives turn 1. He's going to lose it off of the corner. Gets run over by the 84, and Focusato will run into him as well. And that's going to bring out the caution for the opening time tonight. Oh, and Rich Roy nearly ran in the back of the 84. And like we were starting to talk about, this is Tyler Stallhood's best statistical road course. And one of his best statistical tracks in NR2003, and unfortunately overcooked it going through turn 1. Still could not hold on to it in turn number 2. And brings out the first caution of the evening here at the Old Spice Raceway. They'll race it back to the line where Dunlaprod, who has led all 4 laps so far of this evening's contest. Hyde and Bishop will round out the podium. How about this for Victor Delgado in that Mercury? Running P4 and Emi Schizato. Your Pensacola Road Course Exhibition Race winner for the Grand National Series. Right now rounding out of the top 5. But not the start to the race you want, especially for Vincenzo Focusato, who has got a really beat-up number 37 cars. We'll take a look at a replay. Before we take a look at our replay, forgot to mention, or forgot to change the replay cover, always forget to do one or two things. We're going to go back a couple laps earlier to the incident on the third, or rather the second lap of the, was it the second? Yeah, the second lap of the race. Here on lap number 2, and it looks like Stallhood was trying to cut underneath the 28 of Bishop. Got way squirrely and got into that 37 Pontiac and head on pretty much into that safer barrier wall. You see just how fast the 37 car was going as he had all 4 tires lift off the ground onto that down low embankment. And that was incident number 1 between the 7 and the 37. And the following lap, it was pretty much the exact same thing. Actually, no, not the exact same thing. It was pretty much the same thing from Stallhood. So we take a look at it in slow-mo. And yeah, Stallhood just did not get a good apex on the corner. Overdrove turn 1, got way loose. And nowhere for Crystal Bennett to go as that Ray Bestos Toyota goes spinning right in front of the 84. And Focusato for the second consecutive lap will just ram that number 7 car, Nicky Conti. Emi Schizato was involved in that accident, was able to drive away and actually picked up a couple of spots racing back to the line. Crystal Bennett, who started this race in in the 5th spot, is going to lose all that track position, and not what you wanted to see. And same thing for Tyler Stallhood. We will get another look at it here. And this time with the POV of Stallhood. And it looks like we're not going to, because NR is going to crash on us. So it looks like we might have to reinstall NR2003 after tonight for the 3rd time this week. Might be time for me to get a new computer. No, we don't want to do multiplayer. It's a good thing that this is a replay. We'll go back into the replay and show it here. I think maybe doing onboard replays might not be the proper way to go here. A couple of these incidents and a lot of these incidents, but we'll do one replay in full time, following with the 7. We'll Just drove really, really aggressively into the corner. I'm not sure if he was carrying too much speed, didn't let off the gas enough, and got that 7 car wrecking loose and collected about a fifth of the field in the process. We saw Conti involved. A couple of hard hits there for Tyler Stallhood. Not what you want, really. Definitely not what you want, indeed. And going back after the caution flag, Apollo Hyde won the race off of the pit lane over the 74. So it looks like Apollo Hyde will be the race leader coming back to the yellow or the green flag. Pace car down the pit lane. A lot of drivers having to book it to the rear end of this field. To catch back up, Victor Delgado will restart back in 4th as RJ Bishop got ahead of him. I believe we're just doing a single file restart here, as is a custom in the Sportsman series. So top 5 going back through the Reese's restart zone will be Apollo Hyde, Dunlop Prod, 28 of RJ Bishop, Victor Delgado, and Emi Schizzato. The top 5 you typically expect as green flag is back out in the air, and a really good restart for both the top 2 drivers. Here on lap number 6 of the event, all 14 cars are still in this race so far. And a pretty good restart for Apollo Hyde, but here comes that 74. Whoa, way loose off of the corner where both of the leaders. You can hear that 74 car squeaking a little bit going through the corner, 3 wide going through turn 5. It was Delgado that had to jump off the brakes, rather turns 3 and 4, I should say. Delgado moving all over the place in the 52. He is warping in and out significantly. Focusato falling back in the 37. Meanwhile, nearly flat spot in the 4 tires that Apollo Hyde took in the pit lane. She'll lead her first lap under green this evening, but LaPrade hunting that 100 Pontiac down. Like it's some stone cold venison like you typically see here up in Wisconsin, or maybe some fish, some sturgeon to be more specific, up in Sturgeon Bay. Really loose out of turns 3 and 4 for the 100, but is able to get back into the throttle. RJ Bishop keeping these 2 honest. A good battle for 4th back in here is Schizzato up to P4. Delgado and Schizzato fighting for that 4th spot right now. Nicky Conti looking for a solid top 5 run. Saw some smoke out of the 100, and Apollo might be beginning to flat spot these tires in that Kodak Pontiac, because LaPrade is right behind that number 100 machine in tow. Really loose going into 1. Yeah, that Pontiac all over the place for Hyde. Looks like we had Ike Durbin. Looks like he went around in the 86 car. We continue to remain green, and with the threat of the crash, we're not going to restart. We're not going to do any more replays under green. It's the weirdest thing. It's the 3rd time in the last month I've had to reinstall NR2003, and it happened during the live Grand National race last Wednesday in Michigan. Kind of threw things for a loop, including our ticker. And now it's happened here once for our first replay under caution. Right now it's Hyde who has led the last couple laps here under the green flag. Good run for Rafaela Sorensen so far, up 7 spots after starting in 14th. And that Kyle Petty, number 42 throwback, Lucas Kennedy, has risen up a couple of spots as well. He is +5. Focusato trying to gain back what other ground he lost as Blake Warren goes wide into the Armco. That'll allow Tyler Stallhood to take that spot away, as those 2 were battling for 11th. As Durbin and Rich Roy, 2 of the Millennium Autosport cars, falling back in the field. It has not been a good race so far as Blake Warren will flat spot the tires going through turn number 8. It's not been a good start to the race so far for Millennium Autosport. Right now, that Marvelous Racing number 100 got a rear view mirror full out LaPrade Motorsports 74 at Chester's Family Market, Monte Carlo. Closing in rapidly on the 100 machine here on lap number 10, quarter of the way through the Earth, Wind, and Old Spice Grand Prix here on the 21st night of September. And LaPrade has caught up to the race leader. They're on top of one another like a couple of fish. And what can LaPrade do? That 100 machine is really, really loose in the wrong spots and really tight in the others. LaPrade trying to hold a steady steering wheel and looking for an advantage. A little bit wide through the corner, swings the 100. That might be the shot that LaPrade needs for this race lead. Having a wide arc, trying for the crossover through 3 and 4. Not quite able to get it, but is still right on the rear bumper of the 100. We'll take a risk here. Go on board with the 74 car. Right on the back end of the 100s, we take you for another lap around the Old Spice Raceway. See the back end stepping out of that Pontiac. But Hyde is able to regain some ground in the 100 as across the bridge they go. On towards turns 1 and 2. That has been LaPrade's bread and butter throughout this second run of the race. Hear these Goodyears squealing. Onto the braking here through turns 3 and 4. Trying to grab a little bit of a ledge on the 100. Underneath the bridge they go, transitioning from concrete to asphalt. This asphalt patch in here, back onto the concrete. On through turn 7, this high banked corner. And through turn 8. Spreading a little bit out the back end was the 100. Up the racetrack goes Hyde. Not able to take advantage of it, however, was LaPrade, and these two are leaving R.J. Bishop behind in the dust. Blake Warren, I don't know what happened back in here, but Blake Warren is suddenly, actually no, I believe he is a lap down. I was going to say he is in 4th at the moment as the battle for the race lead will reheat. Blake Warren gone down the pit lane. Rafaela Sorensen way off course. And around goes Vincenzo Focasato in turn 2. Bounces that Pontiac off of the wall. We remain green. So that is now the 4th incident. Make that the 5th incident, it looks like. That a Millennium Autosport Pontiac has endured. Here as we approach the midway point through tonight's race. Just losing out of turn 2. That looks to be the trouble spot for a lot of these guys back in here. As you saw that 37 car spinning around. Somebody else locking up the brakes in turn 1. I believe that may have been Conti. Swinging way off the corner was Warren. Delgado locks up the brakes. Same thing with the 85. They're able to keep their automobiles straight. Only one caution for incidents so far in this evening's race as Apollo Hyde looks to be the dominant car, but has got a rear view mirror full. That 74 machine approaching the midway point in the race here. R.J. Bishop in that 28 machine. Of course, we'll see pretty much all of these drivers back on the Grand National Circuit this Wednesday night for the Better Call Saul Round of Chicago at the Chicago Motor Speedway. You're wondering, hey, it's not in Albuquerque. Why is Better Call Saul sponsoring the race? Well, it's because Saul Goodman, aka Jimmy McGill, was originally from Cicero, Illinois. That is the home of the Chicago Motor Speedway. So we figured, hey, you know what? We got Trek Togger sponsoring the Round of Chicago part. Figure we'll cover the back end there for the Better call Saul. Round of Chicago, and speaking of cover in the back end, that's exactly what Dunlap was doing to Apollo Hyde down to the inside of the 100. He's got the race lead here. What can Hyde do to try to get back at the 74? A wide arc going through the corner. She's going to have a ledge through 3 and 4. Trying to post that 100 machine down to the inside. Not going to be enough, and finally out front. Back out front, that 74 of Dunlap led the first 3 laps of this race. Then the 100 of Hyde led the last 14, make that the last 10 or 12 or so. But Dunlap back out in front as now they have caught up to Rich Roy, who's the first one on the lap down chopping block. Couple drivers back in there. Somebody is down the pit lane, not sure who it is. Well, Blake Warren. I guess he is gone to the garage. I guess he's gone to his hauler. I was not expecting to see that. I thought it was a weird glitch with the free cam, but Blake Warren has taken his car to the hauler, I guess, so he will be out of this race. 13 cars remaining on track. And Hyde beginning to lose a little bit of ground on the back end of that 74, approaching the midway point through the Earth, Wind, and Old Spice Grand Prix. Prod will lead lap number 17 here. Some more smoke going into turn 1. I believe that may have been from Ike Durbin, who was the next one on the cutting board. Both Durbin and Roy have struggled immensely in the early parts of this contest. Roy 1 lap down. Blake Warren is 3 laps down. He is officially retired from the race. Not really much to write home about so far. Well, Prod catching up to the back end of that number 86 car. Again, Ike Durbin won that wacky race at Augusta to start the season. Second race of the campaign after a relatively calm race at the Auto Club Speedway. Only a handful of incidences in the opening race of the season. Go to the Coca-Cola 107, and, well, that was certainly a race at Augusta. Had a couple of cars, Blake Warren and Corbin Wentz, hitting the wall of death as R.J. Bishop down the pit lane in the 28 machine. So here we go. I think this is going to open up the pit cycle. Neither the 74 or the 100 will come down. So I'm not sure if that pit stop was scheduled or not for RJ. So he'll fall a couple of laps down, and that number 28 machine, so will come off the pit lane. I don't see if there he is, right in front of the leaders, so he's going to stay on the lead lap for now. LaPrade underneath of Durbin. The next time by will be the midway point. Through this evening's race, only 1 caution for incidents so far. And Dunlap trying to lead the most laps in this race has led, I want to say, 7 so far compared to the 11 or 12 that Apollo Hyde has led. But up until that opening caution on lap 3, LaPrade was immediately checking out from everybody, and that's exactly what he's done here so far in this 11-lap run. Snap on a race break. Go through the field. I said we will go through the field here for a brief moment. Presented by Fram. Dunlap leads the way in car number 74. Apollo Hyde runs in second. Ike Durbin 12th. Rich Roy 13th on the tail end of the field. The caution flag has come out. The yellow flag is out for the second time this evening. Trying to figure everything out. The caution flag out. This is going to change everything right at the midway point. I'm not sure who it was. It may have been Rafael Sorensen. We are under caution for the second time. we'll take a look and see what happened, and hopefully our game does not crash here. I'm not sure if that was a caution for a halfway break. Trying to see what happened here. So there's the yellow flag, and oh, it looks like Victor Delgado getting, oh, that may have been a warp job. Take a look and see what happened. Yeah, Delgado, I don't know what happened there. I think Lucas Kennedy was the next one to hit him. Kennedy minding his own business. Oh, yeah. Oh. Well, that was something. I guess that was a multi because of internet connection, but that was... I think Victor Delgado was in another universe there for a moment. Well, this will change things right on lap 21, so we're going to split this race in half, it looks like, with 19 laps to go. Either the Earth, Wind, and Old Spice Grand Prix. Don LaPrade is going to get things back here. But it looks like Apollo Hyde is going to win the race off of the pit lane once again. That marvelous racing. Number 100 pit crew has been elite so far. Of course, you got that number 1 pit stall on the pit lane. Certainly helps things out a 2. And that'll put Don LaPrade back behind the 100 machine once again. It looks like, hey, Rafaela Sorensen and RJ Bishop. Remember, those two stayed out. Rather, they came down the pit lane. Before that yellow flag came out, I think Rafaela Sorensen came out right as the caution came out. So it looks like Sorensen will be the race leader here on the restart. That's going to be a little bit of traffic that both LaPrade and Hyde are going to have to navigate around. They've got about 4 lap fresher tires than RJ Bishop. Rafaela Sorensen has got 1 lap older tires than the rest of the field. See what she's going to be able to do on the restart here in car number 42. And looks like we're going to have 1 more lap of caution as Ike Durbin is trying to catch back up to the tail end of the field. So we'll do an additional lap. And actually, Rafaela Sorensen, my apologies there, was on the tail end of the lead lap. So it looks like we're going to do 1 more lap under caution. So it's going to be RJ Bishop who will inherit the race lead in the 28 machine. That'll put the 100 of Hyde in second. Don LaPrade in third. Emi Schizzato fourth. And a nice recovery so far for Crystal Bennett and for Vincenzo Focusato. These two running 5th and 6th respectively. Tyler Stallhood in the 7th spot. I believe light should go out on the pace car anytime now. Nope, looks like we're going to do 1 more lap of caution. So now, I think it'll be a good time for us to go downstairs and go through the field under the caution flag, presented by Fram for our official snap-on race break. RJ Bishop leads the way, but he's got older tires than Apollo Hyde, who currently sits in second. Don LaPrade is third, Emi Schizzato fourth, Crystal Bennett rounds out the top 5, Vincenzo Focusato 6th. Tyler Stallhood is 7th. Lucas Kennedy runs in 8th. Nicky Conti 9th. Victor Delgado will round out the top 10. Ike Durbin is 11th. 12th is Rafaela Sorensen. 13th, Rich Roy. And the number 8 of Blake Warren out of the race. Last and 14th on the grid. Here this evening, the Old Spice High Endurance Raceway. We're going to get this race restarted with 15 laps to go after an extended caution break for Victor Delgado, bringing out the second caution flag of the evening. RJ Bishop trying to get his first win in a Sportsman car. Both Hyde and Laprade have 2 wins on the season under their belts. Trying to remember who won the other couple of. Actually, Apollo Hyde has got 3 wins on the season. My apology, or win. Got Las Vegas, Auto Club. Trying to remember. I don't know. I think it's 2 wins for Hyde. And I'm pretty sure it's 2 wins for Laprade. We're on race number 7. Those 2 account for 4 wins, and they had Durbin and Roy winning at Augusta and Daytona. So we're here for race number 7. Have 6 different races, or 6 prior races so far. So both the 100 and the 74 sitting at 2 wins apiece. RJ Bishop trying to get that another win here. Green flag back into the air. 15 laps to go. A nice restart for that 28 car, but remember, he has got 4 lap older tires. And the drivers in 2nd and 3rd. A little bit of a lock up there for Apollo Hyde, and she's trying to gun around that 28 car. Down to the inside of the 28 machine. Way up the racetrack goes Bishop, and he's going to get a nice run off the corner. And here comes Laprade. Hyde shuts the door on the 74. That's going to be a little bit of breathing room there for Bishop, but here we go. 3-car battle for the race lead. Hyde in the middle of a 28 and 74 sandwich. Hyde on the back end of RJ Bishop. RJ overdrives the corner, and Hyde is into the back. They're both upside down in turn 8. The caution flag is back out. And there was nothing that either of those cars could do in that situation. And that was about as ugly as it gets. And that was just a pure racing deal. And there's nothing that those 2 could really do. As Bishop bobbled into the corner, and I don't think Hyde expected that. She was trying to get underneath of it, and we'll take another look at it. Hopefully the game doesn't crash, knock on wood. But that was not a pretty picture there for the 100 and the 28. We'll get a couple looks at it here. First one in slow-mo, and you're going to see, yeah, RJ bobbled the corner, and I don't think that Apollo anticipated him bobbling through the corner like that. And it's just a warp as they both go upside down like we typically see. You know, I can't really fault either driver for that. It was just it was just a wrong place, wrong time for both of those drivers. You had the bobble from RJ, and you had Hyde locking it up through the corner, which we've seen that happen a lot so far tonight. Get another look at it here. We'll go helicopter cam for this one. Yeah, I think it was, if I had to play the blame game, I'd say probably about maybe 60-40 on the fault of Apollo there, just in terms of locking it up. Obviously, no ill will for either of those drivers, but top 2 leaders taking one another out here right off of the restart. And that might give this win to Dunn Laprade, who is maybe just playing the Luigi wins by doing nothing game in the 74. Which I can't really fault him for, but yeah. So here we go, back going green. I believe RJ Bishop is trying to beat the field off of the pit lane there in that that's Rich Roy. RJ Bishop has retired from the race, and Apollo Hyde is still in this race. So Bishop will join Blake Warren in the garage area. 12 cars still out on track. Green flag back out in the air. And here we go. Emmy Schizzato in 2nd, Crystal Bennett in 3rd, and Vincenzo Focusato is somehow inside the top 5 after the opening 5 laps of hell that he endured. I think Laprade is very well going to run away with this victory here. Schizotto really loose off the corner. That's going to open the door for Bennett. Not able to quite get down to the inside. Bennett out to the inside of Schizotto. You got Focusato waiting in the wings for those two to make a mistake. Here he goes down to the inside. Oh, Schizotto taps the brakes and around goes Crystal. Second straight lap. The second place driver has issues, or as Rick Allen would say, problems for the 84 car. And Crystal Bennett's good race will go down the tubes. A tough break for that Interstate Batteries 84. Focusato now to third, but he's got Tyler Stallhood right behind him. Remember, those two have been together 2 times so far in this race, so they bowled a turkey. Stallhood not going to get down underneath the 37, got loose out of the corner. Looked like he was going to spin that Camry. Somehow was able to save it, and he's still on the back end of that Pontiac. And the Prod, meanwhile, is completely checked out of this race in that 74 car, so the battle is on for second. Focusato tapping the brakes. Here comes Stallhood, puts the back end of the 9s, nearly spins the 7 car around. What a save, and look at Lucas Kennedy, threaded the needle in the 20 car. He is going for third. Kennedy with the cold trickle Days of Thunder maneuver will put himself inside the podium with 10 laps to go. Stallhood continuing to fight that 37 car as Focusato goes wide off of 2. Nicky Conti looking for a top 5 run of that Sprite machine as well. LaPrade now 2.5 seconds in front of Emi Schizotto, but this battle for third has been extremely fun to watch as we're now in the single digits to go here at Old Spice. Both Focusato and Stallhood are just on top of one another. Stallhood is going to get that spot away from the 37, nearly ran in the back of the 20. Here comes Vincenzo. Vinny trying to measure a counterattack on the back end of that 7 machine. Meanwhile, the 74 adds another second in front of Emi Schizotto in the field. Getting bottlenecked back up in here. Going for third is the 7. He's going to outbrake the 20 of Kennedy, utilizing the inside lane, and Tyler Stallhood is up to third now. I think this race is going to come down to who is going to be able to fight for second, as Lucas Kennedy trying to get that counterattack going on that 7 machine. Don LaPrade checking out of Dodge, and he's trying to check out for his 3rd win of the season. Schizotto in the 9, now under fire from Stallhood, who got real tight going out of 8. Overcorrected it and nearly put that 7 car in the tulips. What can Lucas Kennedy do? Stallhood overdrives the corner, punts the 9 car out of the way. Somehow they remain straight and Stallhood gets turned by the 37. Is a caution flag back out? It is. Second incident of the afternoon for Tyler Stallhood, our 4th caution of the evening. And we had a feeling that was going to transpire as Stallhood got in the back of the 9, somehow saved it, and then got a little bit of payback there from Vincenzo Focusato as we get another look at it here. We take a look at it again. Yeah, Stallhood just overdrove the corner, popped the 9 right in the rear end. To his credit, was able to put Schizotto back front-facing forward, and the process just accidentally got hooked there by the 37 of Focusato and in to that safer barrier wall. And all the progress that Tyler Stallhood made in this race is going to be all for naught by the looks of it. We get another look at this in real time, and Stallhood pops Schizotto in the rear end, and he's able to spin that Caltex car back front-facing forward, and then goes hard into the wall. I tell you, Focusato and Stallhood have just been locked onto one another, and that is going to re-rack this field here with, I think we're going to get a restart with about 5 laps to go. Dunlop coming off of the pit lane. Vincenzo Focasato will somehow go to third, or second, I should say. Or actually, gonna get a couple of drivers who stayed out. Is Lucas Kennedy the race leader? Yeah, Lucas Kennedy is the race leader. Emi Schizzato stayed out. Rafaela Sorensen and Apollo Hyde also stayed out. So Dunlop came down the pit lane along with the rest of the field, and we're going to get this race restarted with 5 laps to go. And remember, this is the point of, rather, 3 laps to go is the point of no return on the road courses, I believe. So I think if we get another caution outside of 3 laps to go, or if we get another incident outside of 3 laps to go, we will get another caution flag. Or that might be just a Grand National thing. I think we're going to assume that this is the point of no return right here. But Lucas Kennedy coming around to 5 laps to go. Could the 20 machine, who started all the way back in 13th, end up winning this race? 5 laps to go. Green flag, back out and away. And a really good restart for Schizzato. And here comes Hyde looking for the spin and win. Schizzato looking for the lead, pops underneath. Oh, and around going Kennedy. He gets loose off of the corner. Somehow is able to save it, and here comes Hyde. Hyde going for the race lead. Sorensen sideways on the track. Cars all over the place, and Hyde overdrove the corner. Here comes LaPrade trying to get around that 9 car. He's going to slide the tires. Here comes Focasato in the 37, and it's complete anarchy here in the final couple of laps of this race. Schizzato in the race lead, but how long can she hold on? It's not going to be long. To the outside goes LaPrade. Can he get the pass going down the front straightaway? He will. 4 to go. LaPrade back out in front. Hyde back in 4th, and Focasato in 3rd. LaPrade trying to check out of Dodge here. Schizzato trying to hold on to it. Here comes Focasato underneath of the 9 car. Not able to get a ledge down. Nearly making it 3 wide there was Hyde. LaPrade trying to check out and get to 3 laps to go. I mean, no matter what happens here, this will be the point of no return. You wreck now, no caution. You go into the catch fence, no caution. Here comes Hyde. Nearly locked up the cars once again, and now 3 wide for 2nd, coming back to the stripe. 3 to go. You wreck now, that's it. No more restarts. Hyde trying to get back up there for a shot at the 74 of LaPrade. Schizzato all over the track. A little bit of contact there between Focasato and Hyde. Trying to dive down low. Here comes Crystal Bennett in the 84. And where did Tyler Stallhood come from? Stallhood looking for a top 5 run. It's all over but the crying for the race lead, but the battle for 2nd is still as fervent as ever. It's Emi Schizzato trying to hold on to it in that number 9 Caltex Ford. Sticks high in the air. 2 laps to go for Schizzato. She goes wide. Now Stallhood is in the frame. Stallhood nearly caught the 84 in the rear quarter panel. He's going to be in this conversation for 2nd as well. Hyde on the back end of the 7 car. Falling back a little bit, and it is just a hornet's nest back in here for 2nd. Hyde overdrove the corner. She's going to be just barely able to get that under control, and Focasato gets turned running in 2nd. He and Crystal Bennett collide. And that's definitely going to knock this win in favor of LaPrade, coming around to the white flag lap. Through turns 3 and 4 for the final, or the penultimate time, rather turns 7 and 8 for the penultimate time. White flag is in the air one more time around Old Spice for that 74 car, and for 2nd, it's Tyler Stallhood. Here comes Apollo Hyde, an aggressive move to the inside. She's going to turn the 9 car around. Emi Schizzato will fall back to potentially 5th. Way off the racetrack goes the 100. She's going to get turned by Nikki Conti. And the battle for 2nd is going to end at that. Who will potentially get 3rd? Back in here, and Apollo Hyde has spun the 100 car around, but off the final set of corners. Don LaPrade is going to get win numero tres of the season through turn number 8. Don LaPrade gets it done here at Old Spice. It'll be Tyler Stallhood coming home in 2nd. Who is going to get 3rd? It's going to be Nikki Conti who will get 3rd, Emi Schizzato 4th. And after all of that, Vincenzo Focasato will get 5th. I think Ike Durbin got 6th somehow. After going a lap down and spinning out early on, Ike Durbin will finish in 6th, but it is Don LaPrade, win number 3 on the season. And he is 2 for 2 so far in the tape delays. And that was a wild final lap of action there from a lot of these drivers, as Don LaPrade is going to take that car to victory lane. And that will do it here for this evening's race. But that was certainly something here at Old Spice, that we take you through your official results after race number 7 of the season. Top down on the scoring pylon, Don LaPrade gets the win. Tyler Stallhood finishes in 2nd. Nikki Conti will round out the podium after getting spun out on the final lap. Good recovery there for Emi Schizzato to round out the field, finishing in 4th. Vincenzo Focasato will finish in 5th. Ike Durbin 6th. Lucas Kennedy 7th. Rafaela Sorensen 8th. Victor Delgado 9th. And Crystal Bennett will round out the top 10. 11th was Apollo Hyde. 12th was the 29 of Rich Roy. 13th was RJ Bishop, who was out of the race. And 14th, 26 laps off the lead lap in the garage area, was Blake Warren in car number 8. But that is going to do it for tonight's contest here at the Old Spice Raceway. Congratulations once again to Don LaPrade for winning the Earth, Wind, and Old Spice Grand Prix here at the Old Spice Raceway. It was certainly a 21st night of September to remember here this evening, and that is going to wrap things up from the Old Spice Raceway. We got Fuel Grand National Competition coming your way in just a couple of short days, live from the Chicago Motor Speedway. 8:55 airtime here on the NASRN for a 9 p.m. qualifying and a 9:15 race time here on the NASRN for the Better Call Saul Round of Chicago here on the North American Sim Racing Network this Wednesday evening here on the NASRN. But on behalf of everybody on the Fuel Racing League and everybody at the NASRN, my name is Trey Wright, saying so long from Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin. We'll see you guys in just a couple of days here on the NASRN for the next race of the Fuel Grand National Series season, the Better Call Saul Round of Chicago. Have a great evening, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see y'all in just a couple of days.